Welcome to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast with your host, legendary powerlifter and strength athlete, Chad Ikes. For most, the journey of strength starts in the gym, but should inevitably expand through all aspects of life. Join us as we discuss all things strength. Now, here's your host, Chad Ikes.
One of my big pet peeves, and I have a lot, is going through social media and seeing everybody talking about their programming, their exercises, their nutrition, and acting like it's the only one that can work. It's the right one. It's the one that'll work for you. And I was thinking about this the other day, and one of my other pet peeves is people that jump from program to program to program, or they'll see a new exercise and they want to do the exercise, but they have no concept of what it's actually for or how to perform it. And that's always kind of irritated me. But the other day I was thinking about it and I'm like, well, no wonder. No wonder people jump around. No wonder people keep trying all these new exercises and everything, because everything's so backwards right now. It's almost, I have this concept that society has not evolved as fast as technology has evolved, so we don't really know how to handle it. We just keep grabbing and grabbing. What's the newest thing? What's the thing that's going to make my life the easiest? And we don't understand the impact that's having on our society. And I think that has leaked through into strength training, so we can no longer see the forest through the trees. We have no concept of the big picture, and we don't even try to look at it. We're just focusing in deeper and deeper on each tree, and losing the parts that make everything right and make everything work together. Right's not a good word, but we're losing how everything flows and how everything works together. So I think when we're looking at all these things, I think it boils down to execution and intent. You can even throw intensity in there. Training itself is strength training itself, losing weight, leaning out, putting on muscle, bodybuilding. It's all pretty much the same thing, and it's pretty easy. If you break it down to a minimalist concept, which I don't mind getting more. I want to say scientific, but I hate the word scientific, because all these other guys I was talking about earlier, every one of them has a study proving their theories. But so you have a study that proves this is right. The other guy has a study that proves that that's right. Then the third guy has a study that proves that his is right. And then there's a fourth guy, and on and on and on. And everybody has studies, and everybody claims, follow the science. I follow the science. That's what the other guy said. And then I go through all their studies and I'm like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? Even if your study did prove that one point works, it didn't compare it to all these other ones that work. So which one is the best? You're not comparing that. And even if you do, there's still so many factors beyond that need to be looked at. And I'm kind of getting off track and losing my train of thought here. But I want to get back to go to the basics. Figure out the basics first, get that down, and then go a little deeper. And this is actually the process of becoming a successful athlete or reaching your goal. It's a process of, listen, I need to get in here and go. I need to pick up the basics. Because at that point, almost anything's going to work. And then as you get better and better, your window for error gets smaller and smaller. And this is when you need to start looking more deeper into what's working. And I see a lot of people jump right in wanting to know what the best in the world are doing, when in fact they should be finding out, what did the best in the world do when they started? Or what did they do when they were at the same level I'm at? Not to say that that's going to work, because you can't just do what everyone else can do, but it gives you at least a smart baseline of where to look. And this goes down another path. I see people all the time. oh, so-and-so got that strong. But they don't realize that it took 10 to 15 years for them to get that strong. So they're going, well, this guy's that strong, and I'm so far behind. I suck. This sucks. And then they get depressed and they jump out when they didn't take the time to go, well, wait a minute. What is that guy's journey? Like, what did he go through? What did he do? How long did it take him? What struggles did he have to deal with? What struggles do I deal with? Just looking and learning who they are. But when you break strength down, you go into the gym, you train hard, you're stimulating your body to grow. When you leave the gym, so like you're not stronger after training than before training. You didn't get stronger in the gym. You actually got weaker in the gym. Now, when the gym's over, you need to go recover. You need to recover from the trauma and nutrition that you utilized in your body. You need to replace that. You need to replenish it. You need to get your body back to having energy, back to homeostasis. At that point, your body it's already started actually growing stronger, but now you have to give it time to let it grow stronger. Then you go back in the gym and you do this again, and you do this again, and you do this again. And if you go in the gym and we're all going to have waves. We're all going to have ups and downs. But generally speaking, if you're recording what you're doing in the gym and you're not making gains towards your goal, then something is wrong. And most people tend to jump to, oh, I need to do more. And I'm not against doing more, but more of what? People do not ask the question. And most people jump to the fact that, well, I need to train harder. Well, why do you need to train harder if you're not making gains? That tells me that you're probably not recovered and you're probably not ready to train again, and you probably didn't let your body completely process those other training sessions. So honestly, if you backed off a little more, you'd probably see better gains. I mean, that's the first place I would go. Now, there are people that recover really, really well. There are people that have great genetics, and they might need to pick up their training. From my experience of being in the sport for 40 years, most people need to back off a little bit and give themselves a little more rest. Now, the caveat to that, and here's where the more comes in. When you're outside the gym, are you still remembering your goal? Because it's really easy to go, oh, you need more rest. Maybe you don't need more rest per se in between sessions, but you need to get better sleep. You need better nutrition. You know, if where you get stronger is outside the gym, if you're not feeding your body and you're not giving it the rest so it can produce the hormones and such that it needs, then you're not going to fully recover as fast as you can. And for a lot of people that love training, like I do, optimize your recovery outside the gym so that you can train more often. Stan Efferding, the great Stan Efferding, came up with the vertical diet, professional bodybuilder, strong as shit, in his 50s, still strong as hell. I heard him once say, I go to bed early and I eat all my calories because I love training and I want to train every day, which is one of the greatest concepts and sentences I've ever heard when it comes to training. He's like, I like training. I love training. So I'm going to do what it takes outside the gym so that I can train more often and still make the gains that I want to make. Side note, there's tons of programs out there. There's tons of exercises out there. Just maybe you need to see the forest. And in seeing the forest through the trees, you're going to recognize that every program that's out there, somebody has been successful with. Every nutrition plan out there, someone has been successful with. Every exercise out there, or most of the exercises out there, someone has made gains on. So maybe it's not the program. Maybe it's not the exercise. Maybe it's not the nutrition plan. Maybe, and I lean towards this concept, it's the execution. It's the intensity. It's the dedication of those things. I can go in the gym right now and let's use dumbbell lateral raises because we just did a video on that for Courage Barbell YouTube channel. I can go in there and perform that exercise really shitty. And I won't see the gains that I could if I went in there and executed it properly. Another caveat to this. Again, you're going to have people that go, no, you need to go slow and you need to go steady and really control the movement. And then you're going to have guys that go, no, cheat a little bit so you can get those extra reps in. Why does one have to be correct? Why can't both be correct? Maybe in your training, you need to start being really strict, learning the movement, learning the muscles, so that way when you do kind of hit a wall, you can go, my body's probably used to doing it this way. Let's do a little cheat and try to squeeze out a couple extra reps. But now you actually know the proper movement and you're able to do, or you're able to cheat just a little bit, but still be using the right muscles and still keep the same technique. And then maybe at some point that starts slowing down on gains. And you're like, I wonder if I dropped the weight and went really strict and kept a slower tempo. Maybe it's not always the program, or maybe it's not always the exercise, but maybe it's just the change that stimulates some new growth. And it's the same thing with leaning out. Yeah, you're going to the gym. Yeah, you're doing your cardio, but what are you doing the rest of the time? Do you have the intensity? Do you have the intent? Are you focused on what you're doing? Or are you training really hard and then you're not eating enough? Which is a big thing. A lot of people don't lean out or lose weight because they don't eat enough. And that's probably going to seem a little backwards because of you're focusing on the trees again and not the forest. The body needs that nutrition. If you're hammering it with all this exercise and you're not giving it the nutrition it needs, then the motor's running like shit. You need the motor to run good. You need a motor to run efficient. The human body has this tremendous survival instinct. And if you're pushing it too far, it's going to try to survive. So now let's talk about energy. Let's look at overall energy and intensity in terms of training. I can go in the gym and do a HIIT program, old school Arthur Jones, be in and out in 45 minutes and be exhausted. Or I can go, hey, I want to up my volume. I want to get a lot of volume, lighter weight, and just do this really intense, crazy session. So then I go train for an hour and 15 minutes and I'm exhausted. Well, which one's really best? Who knows? They both work. I've seen successful guys train both ways. But if you start looking at it, now you're going crazy with this one rep, or one set, I mean. And you're putting all this energy in. And in the end, you expended this much energy. And you had this great intensity. You went really heavy, really hard. Now this one, you're lifting a whole lot more. You don't have the great intensity for that one set, but your intensity is actually kept up and it's spread out for a longer duration. So in the end, you're going to be about here at the end, either way. It's two different ways to get to the same point. You know, at the end of a high intensity training session, you probably can't lift shit. At the end of a high volume session, you probably can't lift shit because you're done. Dude, you used your body up. So really, in the end, who's to say which one is better? So I think what we have to do is we got to step back. It's great to see the trees. I love looking at the trees. But I like stepping back and looking at the whole forest too. And we need both of these insights to get the best performance out of ourselves. We need to look at things from as many perspectives as we can and then come up with the best rationale that we can come up with for us. The reason that there's so many programs out there is that they all work for somebody. There's programs that I love and there's programs that I hate. I will never tell you none of them work. My favorite program is my favorite program because it has been the easiest one for me to modify and change to fit my clients. Which is what I want to be able to do. So when I was looking at programs, I went through them and I go, which one makes sense to me? Like, which one do I believe would work? Which one do I want to do? Which one fits my personality? And then I took that and I modified it. And when it didn't work, when I was running into problems with it, I didn't just ditch it. I didn't go, oh, the program doesn't work. I went, maybe I'm not executing the program correctly. So I started thinking on my own. Then I started calling. I was fortunate at that time to know some of the greatest lifters in the world. And I started calling people and asking their opinions. Because I wasn't going to give up on it. It had made sense to me. I picked it for a reason. I just didn't happen to be running it the way I needed it to go for me and for my team at the time. So then we started doing tweaks and I got advice from other people. And lo and behold, it worked. I just had to do some tweaks to it. It wasn't the program. It was how I was executing the program. And then you can go through and you can go stop switching the program and start spending your time learning how the program operates, learning how it works, learning how you can tweak it to fit what you need. And in the long run, this is going to be the best thing you can do because over time, we change. We get older. We might get bigger. We might get smaller. We might get stronger. We might have an injury. Maybe our caloric needs change. Like there's any number of things that can actually change over time. So what got me to a certain strength level in my 20s might not get me to that certain strength level in my 50s. What got me to a 400-pound bench will not get me to an 800-pound bench, or did not get me to an. I continually changed. The stronger I got, the more tweaks I had to make. So if you can learn a program and learn what you like, possibly even learn multiple programs, but learn if you spend more time learning how to tweak them and how to figure out when things are kind of going off the rails and how to get the train back on track, that's going to serve you much better in the long run. I see this as being given a fish or being taught to fish, except that we're teaching ourselves. Instead of giving myself, oh, hey, here's a program that works, I'm going, hey, Chad, here's a program that we can modify, that we can tweak, that we can do this program for the next 10 to 15, 20 years, maybe even longer. And it'll work because we know how to bend it and tweak it to what our needs are going to be at that time. So the moral of this whole podcast today, let's step back. Let's try to see things from a different perspective. And let's tell society and social media basically to F off. Stop looking at social media and listening to everything you say. Start looking at social media and questioning everything you see. Find the people that you know are intelligent. And I don't mean by how many followers they have. I mean by Actually, if they have millions and millions of followers, I might not follow them at all. But I want to look at who they are. What have they done? Who have they coached? What have they been through? We did an episode with Matt Wenning. I can't remember if he said this in that episode or I saw him see it another time, but he said, I'm not going to follow the guy who got really strong and by the time he was 50, he was beat to shit. I want to follow the guy that got really, really strong and in his 50s and 60s was healthy as hell and still active and still lifting and still living his life. Look at what people have done. Look at where they're at. Look at who they've trained. And more than that, does it make sense to you? What good is a program if it doesn't fit your personality? You won't stick to it. Find a program that fits your personality, that you agree with, that you like. And then start working with that one. And I'm not against switching programs, but every program that you do, give it time. And if it's not working right, take the time to look at it and think and modify it. If you see a new exercise on social media, go, that looks interesting. So then try to maybe research and maybe message the guy and go, what is this exercise for? Why are you doing it? How do I perform it? How do I fit it into my program? Look at those things before you just go to the gym and do it. And even after you've looked at those things, then maybe go to the gym and play with it and go, hey, am I doing it right? Because am I feeling it where it's supposed to feel it? Am I performing it correctly? Do I need to tweak it? And then later add it into your program. Stop just blindly going through it. Stop wanting to find that person that's going to tell you what to do. That person that's going to tell you what to do is you. So gather knowledge and then use your intelligence to see how it's going to fit in and how you're going to make it work. Invest in yourself. All right, guys and gals, that's it for today. And I'll catch you on the flip side, which would be the beginning of the next podcast. I'm out.
Thanks for listening to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast. For more information, please visit CourageBarbell.com. Until next time.